Hi everybody, Dr. Debunk here, um, doing another video. It's been about a month. Busy time, a lot going on. I don't need to tell you that. We are in some ways perilous times in America. Anyway, medically a lot of things are happening, but in another year I'm going to be in a real good situation to do a video a week every time. Just, anyway, blah, blah, blah. I could whine, but no one listens to me whine. And really, I have a great life. I come to work and laugh every day and make fun of patients and tell sarcastic jokes and make a lot of people healthier. So as a quick reminder, I'm Dr. Debunk and I debunk medical myths, garbage, and crap spread by doctors and other health professionals. And the poop is getting deep. You cannot trust any government organizations or large universities. If their lips are moving, they're lying. They're interested in money and power and control, not your health. You're going to have to find little guys, little doctors, little chiropractors, little nutritionists, little health professionals in their field that have no other agenda. Maybe make a little money. My goal, I haven't said it in a while, is to do all this free of charge for everyone out there, my patients, and then all of you. I make money elsewhere. Maybe there'll be some advertising someday. I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to talk about, it's just a side thing that's come up. The next one, I will do another theory of aging. For those of you that looked at the last videos, I did the pollution theory of aging. There's 10 of them. I've done 4. I will get to the rest. And they're just intros of how it works, why humans have health or don't have health, why you can age and finally die of old age and never get disease. We know how to do it. It's quantifiable. It's not what you're told. You can't get this information of doctors because we're disease treaters. And I've spent 30 years trying to understand human health science, and now I have something to say. Why is it doing this weird stuff? Well, to see if the video is right in the end. But anyway, so today I'm going to talk about NAD and niacinamide riboside, and NMN, which stands for nicotinamide mononucleotide, niacinamide mononucleotide. It's this whole energy thing. For those of you that are familiar, I'll help you get it because it's complicated. But for those of you that don't know about this, one of the big things in human health is understanding this phenomenon of losing energy and endurance with aging. Why do our energy levels drop so much with age? Why does our endurance of energy drop with age? For healthy people. Now, I'm not talking about diseased people, because when you're broken with disease, you're kind of screwed. You're going to feel tired a lot. But we're talking about people that have no overt signs of disease. Why? Maybe it's because I should probably not mess with the mouse. That's what's going on here. Anyway, so, and I've talked about this a little bit, but so the intro is, why do we lose energy at different rates? Again, non-diseased people. And we lose not only absolute energy, but endurance of energy. Like people classically, by 35 years old, 50% of women need thyroid, and they say they're tired in the afternoons. By 45, men catch up. And being tired is the top 1 or 2 complaints in a doctor's office. And regular doctors don't have a clue. They cannot tell you why. Well, they'll check your thyroid level and your blood test will be fine, but the blood test is irrelevant. I did a whole video on thyroid. It's called Fat and Tired. It's in there on Rumble and the other place on YouTube. But YouTube hasn't banned me yet for life. I keep waiting, but probably the next time I do a movie about sex change, child, nasty vileness. These people really hate children. They really do. But Finally, YouTube's going to have enough of me and I'll be banned for life. Oh, I'm going to cry. So anyway, um, well, the number one reason people run out of energy as a review is low thyroid. It's epidemic. The reason everyone's addicted to caffeine is because caffeine's fake thyroid. And watch the video and then you'll get it. But it only accounts for about 80% of the problem. Now, perhaps 10% of that 20% that isn't accounted for by thyroid has to do with NAD and coenzyme Q10 and some other energy precursors, malate. It's complicated. We're talking about the energy production cycles of our body. It's called the Krebs cycle. It's called the mitochondria, the powerhouses of our cells. So I'll explain it for those of you that have no science so you can get it, because it is complicated. But what we're trying to do is not. Well, then, if we're running out of energy substrates, can't we supplement? Well, thyroid is the biggest energy substrate. And that's why, I have 500 people that come from all over the state of California and some other states. They see me twice a year because I just refill their thyroids and I get them all focused in, and it changes their life. So if you're tired in the afternoons, and usually we push ourselves even though we're tired. But when you get tired in the afternoon, sometimes in the morning, you can't exercise, you don't have enough energy, you get brain fog, you're gaining weight, you can't exercise. Only low thyroid causes that for non-diseased people. There is no other medical diagnosis, period, that will explain it. But your blood test will remain normal. Watch the video and you'll understand why. But again, 20% of the time I fix your thyroid levels and it doesn't work. And that's what I've experienced in my life now. Well, what's fixing me is NAD. Now, NAD stands for, so let's jump into it. NAD stands for niacinamide adenine dinucleotide. And what it is, it's either the first or second most abundant substance in the human body. We couldn't count how many NADs are in your body. Trillions upon a trillion to the millionth power. There's so many. And what they are is they're energy transport molecules. So for those of you without science, this is all you got to know. It's really simple. Well, it's not, but so we have to make energy every second of every day. Every cell in your body makes energy. But think of it, your heart makes its own energy, your brain makes its own energy. And let's say the analogy is we run on electricity. So we have generators that make electricity. Well, glucose is the gasoline. So generators run on gasoline. So what's the gasoline for humans? Carbohydrates. So we don't have a shortage of carbohydrates in America. None of us are starving. So we take glucose and we take all carbs and turn them into glucose. There's no such thing as good or bad carbs. That's crap. It's the total calorie load. And we take the glucose, it goes into the energy factory, and we make gasoline. And that's the gasoline that runs the generators. The generators are mitochondria, and the metabolic reactions would be the gasoline factory, the petroleum factory takes oil and turns it into gas. Okay? So gasoline is carbs, it runs the generators, and then that gives us electricity. Only in this case, it gives us these molecules called ATPs. So ATPs do the actual work in the human body. All work in your cells is done by ATPs. What powers your thoughts, what powers your heart, what powers your muscles. So basically, we take glucose and turn it into energy. But how we do it is we take glucose and it goes through something called the Krebs cycle, which is the factory that's going to make the gas. And it's this circular thing. You'll always see the diagram. And what it's doing is we're taking glucose apart. We take the molecule and chop it into pieces and suck the energy out of it. And then the final product is 2-pyruvates. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. But we have sucked all the energy out. Well, the energy is contained in little packets called NADs. And that's what we're talking about. So NAD plus, which means it's missing a hydrogen ion, which means it's in an oxidized state. NAD, when we suck the energy out of glucose, gets a hydrogen atom stuck to it, and now it's a charged up molecule. Now it has energy. Well, the NAD is kind of like the gasoline truck. So NAD will carry the gasoline from the factory over to the generators in your body. So NAD is a carrier molecule that carries the energy over to the mitochondria, and then the mitochondria make those ATPs. It makes the energy molecules. So think of it this way. We run on firecrackers. We basically make a certain amount of firecrackers every day to power every single thing. And the little firecrackers explode in our muscles so they work. They explode in our brain so we think. They explode in our eyes. And we make these little firecrackers. And NAD is what puts together the ATP firecracker. So basically, NAD's importance is it's kind of the gasoline truck. So an empty gasoline truck is NAD, and a filled up gasoline truck is an ADH. So for 20 years now, they have played around and supplemented with NADH and NAD and these other things called NMN, which is niacinamide mononucleotide, which is one step before NAD. There's another one called NR, niacinamide riboside, and these are all precursors. So we make NAD, and we also recycle it. And it goes through these steps in our cells. And so there's always been interest for 20 years as we've been able to make these precursors to make the steps. So what's the first step for NAD? Niacin. Vitamin B3, niacin, is what we make NAD out of. And that's been a topic of science for 50 years. But there's problems with taking, you can take a lot of niacin, but it makes you flushed. I don't know if you've ever taken. But now they have niacinamide, which is the next step, or it's 2 steps. But we go through about 8 steps to go from niacin over here all the way to NAD over here. And then your body makes the NADH. So to give you, so the supplement frenzy has been going on for the last 15 years with trying to get NADH or NAD into your body. And then about 10 years ago, NMN came along, which is niacinamide mononucleotide, which is one step away. So this is NMN, and then it goes through a little reaction and it becomes NAD. What we want is NAD. So which supplements work? How does it work? Is there science? Yeah, there's enough science to draw conclusions. The problem? Money. Because the initial science has been driven by what? The supplement companies who paid for studies, and of course they got the outcome they wanted. So it's very confusing. And so I'm going to deconfuse you because we have enough now to know. And I'm going to give you a practical, cheap way to do it. Because NAD is so popular now. If you live where I used to live in Orange County, down in Newport Beach, the Hoo-Hoo Beach area, and you have tons of money, you can go to a little clinic. And my business partner and I did it for a while. We would give you IV NAD, 100 milligrams for $600. You sit there for an hour and we infuse it into you. Well, you can do it sublingually for $20 or less. And it's all very vague on how much. It's very subjective. I mean, people love the NAD infusions. They do. But most people can't shell out $500. And they're all over the place now. But I'm going to show you how to do it practically. So I've been doing it for a little while now. Anyway, so NAD is what we need. But you'll see when you go on vitamin stores and you read about this, the one you'll read about the most is either niacinamide riboside, NR, or niacinamide mononucleotide. And that's the big ones. You can buy these supplements. They're pricey, and they have studies, and you can find these studies on PubMed. But there's a fair amount of prejudice in the studies. It does seem to work, but I'm going to show you how to do it a lot cheaper and a lot more directly. Because why should you use a precursor? NMN and NR, those are precursors. they're relying on your body to absorb it and change it into NAD. Well, we want NAD and we want NADH. And I'll get to that later. NADH is another supplement, and NADH has to do with the mitochondria, but NAD has to do with our cellular machinery. So let me expand, because this isn't as simple as I thought. I got to do a diagram. I'll have to do a PowerPoint. But there's two issues here. One is, I've been telling you about NAD as an energy molecule. It's a gasoline truck. It transports. Very important. With age, plenty of documentation. We are losing our NAD levels, and that's one source of being tired. And I've read already, and myself and others I've seen, you can make a clinical change in people's energy levels by supplementing correctly with NAD. Now, that's because the NAD is becoming NADH and getting into our mitochondria. But NAD by itself actually is a signaling molecule inside your cells. So let me give you a little background. Not even 15 years ago, maybe 12, they realized that NAD was in the cells of our body, not just in the mitochondria. See, until 12 years ago, all the NAD inside mammals, inside our cells, was in the mitochondria, in the powerhouse. So you have remember I said generators make the electricity? Well, all the generators for each organ are in these powerhouses in a separate little facility inside your cells. It's isolated from the rest of the cell. Well, the mitochondria, all the NAD was in there, or so we thought. And then, I don't know how or who did it, 12 years ago, maybe a little more, they started finding tons of NAD in the cells. In fact, they realized in your cytoplasm, like the factory. So let me back up. If our cell was a factory, which it is, so a muscle cell is a muscle factory. In the factory, you have a separate room that would be the generator room, and that's our mitochondria. And so there's no reason for NAD or gasoline trucks or gas cans to be anywhere except in the generator room. But then they started finding them all over the factory floor. I mean, this is a car factory, and you're just putting tires on a car, and you're using the impact gun to put the lug nuts on, and yet next to your desk you have a gas can. And it's like, why do you have a gas can out here? And then they found them everywhere. Every single factory has gas cans, NAD. And then this is the reality hit. Inside our mitochondria is NADH, because that's the activated, powered up, filled up gas truck. But in the cell, in the factory itself, what's out there is empty gas cans. And we didn't understand it. Why are there empty gas cans? Because the gas cans have a new job. Their job is to turn on and off enzymes. And I'm not going to explain how and why. It's the chemistry of NAD as an oxidizer, and NADH as a reducing agent, or NAD as a reducing agent oxidizer. It's chemistry. It doesn't matter. The point is, NAD in our cells turns on and off enzyme reactions. And when you have a science background, for those of you that what I just said to you is earth changing. It's earth shattering. Because to understand, this is a major way we turn off and on enzymes. There's 3,000 families of enzymes in the human body. And all of a sudden, we just found a huge switch that turns them on and off. It explained oxidation reduction. It explained inflammation. It explained stuff that we didn't really understand. And so it's a game changer. And so there's been a flurry of research that continues to this day. And so the point is, we need NAD and NADH supplementing with age because we're running out. So not only do we not have enough energy, we can't turn off and on the enzyme systems that also give us energy. So all of a sudden, this is becoming a reality. And in the last 10 years, and you see it because you go on like Vitacost or whatever, these big vitamin stores, and you'll see tons of NAD products, tons of NADH products. And then you'll see the NMR products, the NMN, the niacinamide monoamide nucleotide. Anyway, NR, that's a big one too. And the reason those are out there is because the supplement companies that started this paid for some basic research. Now, these aren't bad, but the point is, supplementing now is critical for intracellular health and function and also energy production. And so the need to supplement. But the problem is you can't take this stuff orally, really. It's still not clear on some of these precursors, NMN and NR, how much they work, how much you lose. And NAD most likely will not survive stomach acid. So, in fact, it can't. It absolutely can't. I'm not going to explain why. So what's happening just recently is there's sublingual products appearing on the market. And that's what we'll get to in a minute. But so the importance of this, because I'm seeing more and more, like I said, I estimate right now 10% of people's energy problems with age, for people over 50, 60, it's NAD and NADH deficiency. And now with sublingual dosing, we can supplement. And so, anyway, how that works is, so that's, I hope it was clear. I didn't really practice this one. I got to do this as a PowerPoint. I'll probably do it over as a PowerPoint so you can see it. But it really is just simple as understanding this. It is now, NAD is not a hormone, but I would say it's just as important as hormone supplementation. And I've talked about that at times. Thyroid. I haven't done a testosterone video. I got to do that for you guys. And then I can explain it to you women. Women can supplement with testosterone in a cool way. You don't have to take it, but we can boost your output proportional to your estrogen. It's cool stuff. I think I've mentioned this before. A testosterone video, I got to do that. Anyway, so supplementing. It's possible now to do it. Now, you got to do it sublingual. That's the number one thing. Most of the products, they'll tell you to swallow them. You're wasting your money. You might get some absorbed. It might escape the stomach acid and digestive enzymes. That's not clear. Now, NADH therapy is where the NAD has already been reduced. It's had a hydrogen ion stuck to it. And so it's a powered up molecule. NADH needs to get into the mitochondria. That's all you have to know. NAD needs to stay in the cells. And so it does appear that NAD will be uptaken by the mitochondria so it can make more NADH. Because inside the powerhouse, we need NADH. But as our levels drop, NAD will be uptaken, and then we'll stick a hydrogen ion on it, and it'll do its job. But in the cell, we want NAD. So there's not a lot of evidence, but it's clear that our cells uptake NAD because of the practical studies that are done. There's not enough by any means, but these therapies work. All of these precursors work. And so, anyway, a lot of words. Sublingual. Don't do it unless you do sublingual. Now, they have bulk powders now you can buy, and I'll get to that. There's one company that I kind of like. I'm going to be trying them. But right now, the cost-effective way is from Source Naturals. Now, I have no stock in Source Naturals. I don't give a crap where you get it. I've used this company for 15 years. I like all their products. They're American-made stuff. You can get results with them. Anyway, they make a unique product. They make a so-called coenzymated B3. It's supposedly a niacin product. But what they do, these people are clever. They put like 25 milligrams of niacin in there, but then they put in 25 milligrams of NAD. And you can miss it if you don't read the label. And they make it in a sublingual capsule, and so it's kind of sweet tasting. I don't know, they use a natural sweetener. But these things, you can just stick them in your mouth and let them dissolve over time. Or if you want to get it over with, you can chew them up and swish it around for 60 seconds, and it goes right into your bloodstream. Well, it's not as good as an IV, but it's about probably half as good. So that means these little 25 milligram tablets, if you did 8 in a day, you would get the equivalent of the 100 milligram IV stuff we used to give people last year for $500 a pop. And I'm telling you, people line up for this. You can see it. There's clinics all over the country doing it in area where people have nothing to do but waste their money. And so, and I'm getting results with patients and myself. And so Source Naturals is the name of the company, and it's coenzymated B3. So anyway, you'll see it. In fact, I just saw it on Amazon. A bottle of 30 was $6. So I'm going to go buy, well, I'm going to buy them out, whatever, because I can't get it that cheap. Anyway, for my patients and so what you want to do is 1 week therapy. You need to take 200 milligrams a day. And so you should do it in little bouts. If you can, you do 50 milligrams 4 times a day. Just put them in your mouth, stick them on the sides of your cheeks, just let them melt over 10 minutes. And then finally there'll be a bit left. And do that 4 times a day, every day for a week. I think you will see a difference in energy. It is working very well. Now, I haven't done that many yet, so there's no downside to this at all. And it's cheap to do it this way. And then I'll come out with future as I learn more on updates. I plan on doing, I don't know, once a month I'll do 5 to 7 days of NAD therapy because I am definitely better. And I'm sleep deprived because that's my biggest nemesis is I can't sleep and I need to. And this has made a difference. So now there's another product. There's some other powdered NADs out there. There's a bunch of NAD capsules. Again, the powder is one company called Biome. I don't know anything about them. They say they're American. I'm going to buy one of their bottles. It's like $90 for 10 grams. It actually works out almost to the same price as this NAD sublingual. So instead of spending $90, you can just spend, well, how many bottles would you have to get? Probably about 4 bottles, so it's $25. And you'd have a week's worth if you do 200 milligrams a day. Anyway, but it's called BIOM powder. It's in a jar, 10 grams. It's on Amazon. It's around. Those are the two that I think are okay. There's another company. What are they called? I don't like them. It's an big orange bag. They're becoming popular, but I have issues with that company. Anyway, I'll put that out there in the next video. Doesn't matter. Either just get the Source Naturals B3. They're in plentiful supply. They used to run out. They don't seem to anymore. But this is something, if you're over 50, under 50, you probably don't need it. You can do it anyway. You could do it like times of heavy exercise. Wow, 28 minutes. I'm long-winded here. Anyway, but it's really for people over 50. And even if you did this twice a year, you could see a difference. This is going to be excessively studied, and we'll have some parameters over the next few years. But pretty much, NAD is an amazing supplement. It's right up there in the importance of hormones, even though it's not. You could almost argue it's more important. But I think we've just begun to see a flurry of research because it's a cash cow for one, but it drives research. And if you get enough studies, even though they're biased, you can read through it. So that's it. I'm Dr. Debunk. Wow, 29 minutes. I guess I can't shut up. My wife says I never shut up. It's probably true. Anyway, I'm Dr. Debunk. Thanks for watching.